Hello and welcome to another episode of the UNspecial Podcast. We are a space for parents to come be heard, supported, equipped, and inspired. We're not here to tell you what to do with your child, present the latest therapies or behavior modifications. We are simply here for you. We believe in community, and we hope and our goal is for all parents with special needs to do life together and not alone. Today on the show, we have a special guest, a guy that we go way back to the college dorms of Point Loma Nazarene University. We have a family man, a husband, father, man of God, and the 2023 San Diego PE Teacher of the Year. Tyler, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's crazy when you pay, the board a few extra bucks, you can get titles like San Diego Teacher of the Year. But
yeah, let's just go straight into that. How did you get that?
Well, my plan wasn't to really apply for anything, but I had a coworker that was like, hey, I put you in the list. I don't know who he sent it to, but he sent it to a group of board members of the San Diego County of Ed. And all of a sudden, that Tuesday, I see like 4 people roll up watching my lesson, and I'm like, it suits. What's going on here? They ended up watching, which was pretty funny because as a PE teacher, the weather is crucial, and it started raining. So I was like, all right, what am I going to do?
Oh, you're in the gym playing dodgeball?
But I adapted, and it turned out okay, ended up getting it. So
do they cruise around and observe multiple teachers?
Yeah, so I was the middle school PE teacher. So I think they had a elementary and then high school, but I got San Diego. So I don't know how many other people they watched.
Is there a big ceremony?
It was pretty minor. I mean, the PE teacher, it was good though. I mean, I got a plaque and like that, and
where do you have it?
Do a little speech and everything. It was in Dana Point.
It's in your son's room. So, Dad,
it was a Zoom call.
COVID was over.
I know, man. We're still doing it.
All right. Who are you? Where do you live? Where are you from?
Well, I was born in San Diego. Went to Rancho Bernardo High School, and
they wanted to give it to a native.
Yeah, they did. And then I went to college at Point Loma Nazarene University, where I met my dorm best friends, Zack.
We won't go into those stories.
To other people. But I played baseball there. Played 4 years baseball there. Baseball was my passion, what I loved to do. It felt like that was the only thing I was good at. And I think it was my sophomore year where I didn't really know what major, because, you played golf, I played baseball. It was like, that's it.
So that's all we did.
It's like, I don't care about anything else. I just want to play sports and go to school. But we had to pick a major, and so I picked exercise science, and I was like, this is pretty tough. Biology and all that stuff, human anatomy. And then sophomore year, I decided to go for my teaching, liberal studies. And I didn't really know what that entailed, but I just went for it. And then did some observations. I wanted to be elementary. I was going to do elementary school.
I can see it.
And so I did a lot of observations at elementary schools, and I was like, whew, this is awesome, but this is tough.
Yeah.
Because you're with the same kids every day, and you're inside a classroom. And then I think it was my senior year where I went and watched a PE class, and I was like, this is pretty awesome. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where it initially started, but I had my post-college jobs and all that stuff, Trader Joe's.
What was that?
EMT over here.
What was the energy drink one?
Yeah, that was my big one. But it was BAI, the antioxidant drink, which
you
sold for millions. Actually, I think maybe billions to Dr. Pepper.
We overdosed on those for sure.
I would bring home cases of that stuff. And it had that one ingredient that would just like go right through you. Just pour drinking this stuff and be like, man, this stuff's good. A lot of caffeine, but man, I need to go to the bathroom again.
How long have you been a teacher?
So this year's my 10th year teaching.
Whoa, tenure.
Tenure.
Even though it's only 2 years.
I know, man.
Yeah.
And I'll get into that later.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel bad for the middle schoolers because they got a lot of pressure. And I'm like, I don't think I had this much pressure as a middle schooler.
No. What did I do? I was home.
I think I was get on the bus.
He's too squirrely.
Seriously.
What's it like having special needs students in your class? Because you have a handful, yeah?
Yeah, I have a pretty good amount. I love it because it brings a different element to your class. I think it puts it in a little perspective for those students of that age. Especially like, I'll have stud athletes in my class and they're seeing Johnny over here that's, can't even pick up a ball and struggles with or is nonverbal or whatever. And it's kind of like, shoot. And it's pretty cool to see that mesh where.
So they're pretty welcoming.
They're pretty welcoming. I've had some classes that it's been tough. I mean, like they always tell you, you have to modify your lessons to different people and to different students with disabilities. And so I've tried to do that, but then you'll have your epic classes, your unicorn classes, where you have a class step up and they take them under their wing and I stand back.
Oh, that's cool.
Pretty cool. And I've had probably not that many, 2 classes throughout my whole teaching career where I've had my like 8th graders just take special ed students under their wing and they just, and I just like, screw the grading.
Yeah.
This is just straight up.
This is life.
This is life and this is kindness. And you are just, I don't know, showing your true character and I love it. You know what I mean?
I would think majority of the gen ed students were typically pretty welcoming.
Yeah.
And then you have those like rock star ones. Do they still have Wolf Pals?
No.
That was like our peer inclusion program.
Well, that's cool.
And yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
They all paired up with each one of my students.
Yeah, I try to do that. And like, you kind of, as you're getting to know your students, you're kind of like figuring out, okay, is this student a leader that's going to take these under their wings? But it takes a little time for sure.
What does administration expect from you?
Well, first of all, a lot of the classes that I have special ed students, they have their aides with them. And bless their hearts because they're with them throughout the day. I see special ed students cussing out their aides because they're so comfortable with each other, and when they come to PE, the aides are like, oh,
yeah, they can relax a
little bit. But I'm also like, well, I kind of
need your help. Because how many are in your class? 20, 25?
Student? 40, 48 to 52.
In one class?
Yeah.
And then that will... Jeez.
Yeah, so, and
it's just you?
It's just me. So when we're doing, for example, pickleball, I want Johnny over here to be with his aide while he's practicing some of the, games that we're playing. But sometimes I'll have students that want to do that and help out, but it's hard. And I think administration really... They expect for you to teach all learners.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's what they tell you. You have a modification for all. And that's really hard to do.
Yeah. 50 kids.
50 kids. And so, there are days where...
He's kind of punt down the middle.
Yeah. Like yesterday, for example, I had a boy who's severely autistic. We were doing a workout of the day. And I was like, I'm going to do the workout with you. And he held onto my arm the entire time. And we did the workout. I think he wanted to do it, but he was with me. And then he started, because he didn't really talk. He can't really, he'll yell crazy words out loud. But other than that,
cuss words.
He saw his shadow the entire workout and he just wanted to catch his shadow.
He loved it.
You know what I mean? So I was like, we were just waving at our shadows the whole workout.
See that? That's awesome. Do you think most teachers are like that?
I hope so. I don't know. I think, and it's different inside the class. I mean, for PE, you get to see all students.
Right.
Really cool, but it also can be really exhausting.
Yeah.
Because I'm having these kids do this pickleball tournament, and then I look to my left and I see a kid grabbing his paddle and hitting it against the wall, and I'm like, oh, shoot, I should attend to that. Then I'm disregarding what's going on with my 4 students. So it's hard. And that's when, you want those peer leaders or those aides to help out, but sometimes it's just you.
Right. And sometimes the aides aren't very helpful.
Yeah.
They got big hearts.
They do. It's a hard job.
It's a hard job.
Sometimes I get frustrated, but I know that deep down it's like they're doing a lot.
Yeah.
But I know that when PE comes around, it's like, Mr. Kuehl's got this. And they sit down in the shade.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not all the time. I've got great aides and, they help a lot. But I know it is time for rest for them sometimes.
What are IEPs like on your side? IEPs, an individualized education plan.
Yeah.
It's a long meeting.
It's a long meeting, and I feel like
all the specialists are in the room.
Yeah, I feel like it's a to-do list. You go into the meeting and it's just, all right, this is what we're accommodating. This is what we want to do. And it's like, get through it as fast as possible. Sign the papers. Do we have a gen ed teacher? Sweet. He's here. Sign it.
And then you come in and report what's going on.
I report what's going on. And most of the time I try to just tell them the good stuff.
Yeah.
Like, this is what I'm seeing. I don't really like those meetings where I'm like, this is what they're struggling with. Or it's like, look at the positives. And let's just work from there.
Right. Which I think is the mindset that needs to be more of.
Yeah.
Because that's where this all came about. It was my IEP meetings. We get in the room, all the specialists are there. They be recorded. The lawyers are there from the parent and the district. And I remember just watching the parents and just see on their face, like, they were super stressed.
Yeah.
And a handful of times after the meeting, I would ask the parent, like, how you doing? How'd it go? And they rarely have any space to talk.
For sure.
And they would just break down crying.
Yeah.
And I'd walk in with a car and it's like, he's doing great.
Yeah.
But none of the parents have a voice. And all they hear is their kid's a problem.
Yeah. Disruptive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, to give them some good news.
Yeah, it's hard, man. I mean, I feel like, they're the ones that are with them the most. And so they truly know who they are, what they're about, what their passions are. And then I get them for an hour a day trying to figure them out, when, I don't know. It's tough, man. My heart goes out to all the parents that, take them to school and just trust.
In the thick of it.
Yeah.
I mean, you have kids. I have kids. The thought of, like, we will never know what it's really like. But it's like a newborn, it's for 7 care.
Yeah.
And a lot of these parents have that forever.
Mm-hmm.
That's got to be
Yeah. I can't, I mean, like I said, it's hard for me to imagine. And I mean, there's been some students that I'm like, I want to be a fly on the wall at home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just see how this goes down. And, maybe it's different, but like, amazes me.
What are the parents hard on you as a gen ed teacher?
No, I've never had like a conflict with a parent about, you talking about like special ed students?
Yeah.
No, I've never really had. I think they're more on my side, and I think they're more, I mean, PE is supposed to be the fun class, as long as they're in my class and they're moving some type of body part, and it's a good time. And sometimes I'll have, and I can read the room pretty fast if it's going to be a good day or a bad day for them. They'll show up and I can just tell. And there's days where I'm like, wow, they were totally with the class today. They participated, they followed their group, they went to their station. And then there's times where I'm like, they're off the wall. We should probably just have them cool down a little bit.
You got any good stories about that?
Oh yeah, man, I got plenty. I do have one.
I think it was with one of your coworkers' class. One of my students would always interrupt the basketball game, just punt the balls everywhere, just running.
I mean, you got your different type. I mean, you got the one that will just grab every equipment and throw it over the fence. I mean, I've had that one, just they throw it over the fence. And I had one student that was like the kindest, sweetest boy, but everything he did, he would like smile on his face, grab the cones, chuck them. And he'd be like, "How are you, Mr. Kuehl?" And he'd just chuck it, kick my stuff. And I'm like, "What are you doing?" I remember I had 2 students with Down syndrome.
The best.
And I mean,
they're pretty athletic.
They're so strong.
And flexible.
Yeah, I called them the Bash Brothers.
Yeah.
They would come up and hug me every day, literally break my back. And so that's why I call them Bash Brothers. And,
Were they brothers?
Yeah, they were brothers, but they were best friends.
Oh, yeah.
So they always like went to each other's house after school and stuff. So, but I remember one time we were doing like this back pedal drill off the blacktop, and one of the students just straight up fell back and banged his head on the asphalt. And I was like, this is bad.
Oh, God.
And he got up, no problem.
Nothing.
He was like, what? And I was like, are you okay? You just like, and everybody, it was a loud just smack. And I remember being like, dude, and that was one of my classes that was just awesome. Like everybody involved, they would help each other. So when they saw, let's say his name was Nathan, when they saw Nathan go down, they were like, and Nathan just got up and was hugging him, and like, it was pretty cool. But
I feel like PE too, they get a sense of normalcy.
Mm-hmm.
Like they see the world like everyone else does.
Yeah.
And then especially when the other students take them under their wing.
Yeah.
That was one of my most favorite parts about teaching special ed, is letting them experience the world.
Yeah.
Like our daily trips or Friday trips up to Trader Joe's. We got kicked out, but I mean,
yeah,
one guy knocked the wine rack over.
But I mean, I feel like those moments, I mean, puts it in perspective for a lot of other people. And like, hey, I mean, when we were doing ballroom dancing, and we had a student.
You were teaching ballroom dancing?
Teaching ballroom dancing. And
you do got some moves.
And I'll never forget, we had a girl with Down syndrome and a boy who was autistic. And they both danced together.
Mm.
And it was like probably one of my favorite moments of teaching ever. And it was one of those things where students around were sitting down.
Yeah.
They started dancing to the song, and all of a sudden everybody stopped and let them continue to dance.
No way.
And it was like, and every 8th grader in the room was like almost in tears, because they were so happy, so excited. And it was like a really powerful moment
which is like, I feel like there's be so many of those if people could just get past the weirdness that they call it.
Yeah.
Because everyone who comes in contact with them are like, these guys are the best.
Yeah.
They're so funny.
Yeah.
What's great about, they have no filter.
Oh my God. Just like, I'm like writing on the board with my marker, and one of my students just like, that looks like a penis. Like really loud. And my whole class just starts busting up laughing. And I start laughing. I'm like,
it's funny.
Well, let's say his name's, I was like, you know what? You're right. It kind of does. You know what I mean? It's like, you kind of have to laugh at yourself. My students, they start to figure out like, it's just the way they're wired.
Yeah.
and they have no filter, and it's very entertaining for a middle school student.
Oh, very entertaining.
And very entertaining for us too.
That's great.
Yeah.
I know when I was teaching up in Sandpoint, it was a COVID year, my first year in Sandpoint, and the school hadn't done any sort of school activity in a year. And I had these two exceptional student helpers, and I was driving to class. I'm like, man, we got to do something for these kids. And then I got to school, and I'm like, hey, we need to have an Olympics.
Oh, sweet.
And then
Great idea.
They were all about it. And then we got the whole school involved. The welding class made medals, ASB, banners, signs, the business class, T-shirts. And then I invited all the gen ed classes.
How many students of special ed did you have? Was this a high school?
High school, I had like 10.
Okay.
And we trained for like 6 months for 4 events.
That's great.
It was a relay, a sprint, and an obstacle course, and then the shot put. That's the Dows guys.
Man,
One of them,
Olympic status.
he's twirling and he chucks it the wrong way, and it went like 10 yards, and he's just jumping up and down.
He won the gold.
He won the gold. And then we had what was the wood chop made a podium.
Cool.
And then we went through all the events, and I tried to have a wood chopping for the obstacle course. They'd shut me down.
Turn it into an outdoor.
Yeah, I was like, it's Idaho. So they wheeled a wheelbarrow full of wood. But I think like 150 gen ed students showed up, and teachers. They were all crying. Yeah. We had like the Olympic ceremony. They walked up, got their medals on the stage. They were signing T-shirts.
That's awesome.
And everyone came up to me. They're like, this is the greatest thing this school's ever had.
For sure. And you think about the parents. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I think of is the special ed students doing it. They're loving it.
That's all the parents want.
The parents is like, that made their year, not if they're,
Right. We called it the All-Star Olympics.
I feel like that needs to happen more. And, it's like I look at my school and I'm thinking, if we could get a bunch of schools, because I don't know if we have that many that would, because it's that borderline of, do we have them do the special ed Olympics, or are they going to feel like they want to be more part of the regular Olympics?
Yeah, that was a challenge in that specific demographic.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I would do stuff like that, and none of those families wanted that.
Really?
Yeah, because they wanted them to be in the
they were
gen ed.
Totally.
But it's such a peculiar age.
It is
for those parents, and because I feel like it's the age where it's like, is this the future, or
is things going to change?
Is things going to change? And then they put so much pressure on me, or whoever's working with them,
sure.
Oh, you're not changing things.
And I think that's really hard for where I mean, at least for my students at their age.
Totally.
Because they're really just, I mean, gosh, they're really battling with whatever disability they have, and it's like coming full form in puberty. You know what I mean? And it's like they're growing, they're like puppies, growing into whatever they are, and they're trying to figure out how to live in this world. And same with a normal middle schooler. I mean, honestly, every middle schooler has special needs. For straight up, like, let's be real. Like, I mean, I had special needs. I feel like I had, my own stuff that was going on middle school, because it's such an awkward time, and you're going through puberty, and you're figuring out how to socially talk to
anyone. From what you see, they're not that much different.
No. And you know what? I think it calms people down.
Yeah.
It calms my other students down when they're, it's like, I think it's good that they see a student has no filter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, welcome to the real world a little bit.
Uh-huh.
And how do we act with that? How do we respond to when, Benny says, that looks like a penis. It's like, that's life, man.
Do you think some teachers, though, I guess probably some of like the more serious ones,
Mm-hmm.
they just can't handle it.
Yeah.
Or
A lot.
they're not like curious to like know what's going on.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think there's the type A teachers that just like, I have to hit this lesson, and if I don't hit this lesson, then, and they're going to disregard whatever's happening in the class. And I think like you and me, that
It's funny.
It's funny. And, we grow up and, our morals are different, and we're kind of like, hey, if this class just goes absolutely AWOL, let's just adapt to it.
Right.
Let's, figure it out. Let's not force this lesson that we need to do one day. You know what I mean?
What do you think it would take to shift some of those mindsets?
I don't know, man.
A different educational system.
This podcast? I don't know.
I guess it's individualized too.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely, yeah. I don't know.
What is something that you would want every special needs parent to know?
Oof. Probably, honestly, if I had as a parent, like if they asked me that question, like, hey, I would just probably look in the eye and just tell them how proud I am of them, and just like, you are doing a great job, because I feel like that is what they need to hear, and that's what they should hear, is just affirmation that they're in the grind and they're doing it and they're doing their best they can, and the fact that they are here trying to make it work with their student,
Right.
like, you're doing it, because you don't know the answers. I don't know the answers, but we're trying to figure it out.
Right.
And as long as we're pushing towards that same goal of, let's try to get to know them.
Yeah.
And let's just try to get to know what works.
What works?
And that's why you have students that, may be severely autistic, but they are brilliant in whatever field that they are. So let's try to find that field.
Yeah.
And find that passion the best we can. And like I said, just keep loving on them, because that's all we can do.
What else can you do? I heard a good quote the other day that God doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the called.
Mm.
And I feel like that is the mindset of a lot of people. You can relate this to anything in life. But going through that special needs journey, I would imagine there's a lot of parents out there that don't feel qualified to be able to handle it.
For sure.
And then you look at like characters in the Bible, like Moses had a speech impediment and he led the Israelites out of Egypt. He wasn't qualified.
Yeah.
Or Paul.
Yeah.
I mean, he killed
Christian.
And then he spread Christianity across the world.
For sure.
So I think with that mindset, but that's good to have them do what they're good at.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they see things we can't see.
Totally. Yeah, it's, I have a student that comes up to me every day and just says, God bless you, and hugs me. Just God bless you, and hugs me. And sweetest, and comforting. And, it's like, gosh, you're so good at that. Like, you were just a comforter. And maybe that's what you're good at, is just being that, just
let them comfort everyone.
Yeah, exactly. And everyone loves her on campus. And but she has her bad days. You know what I mean?
Totally.
But she'll still come up to me and say, God bless you. And I'm just like, God bless you. You know what I mean?
There's so much we can learn.
Yeah.
I always wonder too what insight they have into the spiritual world. I had a student in Morro Bay. I wrote about this in the book. We went into a church. We were cleaning the church, and I was like, "Hey, Riley, where do you sit?" And then she there was like 600 chairs in the room, And then she went to the seat she sits in, and she sat down, and she was like looking up at the ceiling. And then she's like, the angels are flying. They're flying all around the stage. Yeah. I'm like, can you explain that to me? She's like, it's so peaceful. It's so beautiful.
Uh-huh.
I was like, man.
Well,
and she probably,
yeah,
that's what she was seeing.
It's like when you look at your kids when they're really little and they're looking up and you're like, what are you looking at? Like, are you looking at an angel?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like that purity, you know,
innocence.
Innocence. Yeah, I feel like it's powerful.
And everyone just needs to see it.
Yeah.
You got any closing thoughts?
Closing thoughts would be probably that, honestly, the fact that this podcast is happening, I think is needed. And that's why I wanted to come on, because I feel like parents need an outlet. They need a vent session.
Totally.
And they just need to get raw with it, to be honest. Mm-hmm. And, you know, having a student with special needs, it's a raw thing, and it's wild, and it's difficult. And just like anything in life, I think there needs to be a way to talk about it and find other people that are going through the same thing. And I appreciate just being on the show and get to talk to you and see where this goes.
Well, thank you for being on the show.
Hey, man, glad to be here.
And we love to have others on the show.
Yeah.
So you can find us on Instagram, UNspecial LLC, website, UNspecialLLC.com, and you can find our email on there. I don't know what it is at the moment.
We'll figure it out. Hey, I'm glad I'm number 2.
Number 2. You're the first guest.
Hey.
You know, going big things. But hit us up. We'll have you on the show and get some more insight and get deep on some of these topics.
Sounds good.
We'll have you back.
Thanks for having me.